going to be the ruin, just like the vision. How smashing! Oh, I'll take this. I'll take the swords, take the pickaxe, mine some ore, so I can sell it. The shovel, I can sell it later. Shovelizing, 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 man. Alrighty. Let me arm myself then. So everything can be smashing. Oh, look. How smashing! Right, let's continue our path. There's gonna be some rats here. What smashing at it? Empty. Not really smashing, is it? Let's see. Ooh. Sure, I'll take them all. One bottle. Or alrighty then. Let's go forth. Meanwhile, I'm gonna check the chat since we're just see what else we have here. Nope. Chat, no problem. Alright, so I thought there would be jump scares here, but there were none. Okay, this is my inventory. Empty. The book was supposed to be here somewhere. Ah, yes. Let's read the book then. Yes, let's eat the book. Oh look, the skeleton key. Almost lost that. lots of value here. Oh, how smashing! Man, food really does replenish. Ah, bats. Is it worth checking that out? Not really. This part out though. Maybe not the best idea. What? Okay. Nope, that don't lead anywhere. But how smashing this place is. And would not go there again, because that was weird. There we go. Oh. Oh. Yes. Now we can be smashing. Go on there. Anything new here? Nope, nothing. Still has nothing. Well. Anything underwater? Nope. Yes, that's what I found strange, and I do think we're gonna be fighting some zombies. But we're not fighting any zombies. does it seem so familiar? Because we saw it in the vision. And it was smashing. See if there are more stuff here. Don't see that many things, but I'm surprised I'm not even attacked by rats. What are those? Sure. Pickaxe. Run! You fool, run! Jeez. There's monsters there now. Okay. Let's go for this temple thing. And sneak just. Good. Let's sell it all. Just careful. You don't know what kind of crap lives here. Can be smashing, but most likely it's just evil who wants to kill you. Yep, that's definitely the case. how you activate traps. Yes. Nice. I can also get my arrows back. No, I can't. Take down bro. Okay, this is amazing. That's what needs to be done. Take this. Maybe throw fat. What does this leave? A quick save again. But it's gone. I need to increase my nice. I'll take that. Take that. Now we'll go my merry way. Hopefully those things don't come to life. Because if they do, I'm doomed. Yes, I look much more smashing than these girls. Don't. Man, I can't believe I hit him from that distance. Main thing's to run.
Now would you look at that? I knew I'd seen someone scrambling in the mountains. What brings you here, my sir? Who am I? Finn de Lires, apothecarius by my path. Pleased to meet you. And you are at Sun Coast, in the south of Enderal. Where are you from? But wait, don't tell me. I know that accent. Nerim, isn't it?
There we go. Everything's locked up. At least for the night we should. Wait a second.
Just an adventurer on his way. No reason to worry.
No reason to worry? For heck's sake, Finn. How do you know that this guy isn't with the bandits? You said you'd call me if anyone showed up. And now you're standing here, having a chat with him as if this were the bathing house of Ark.
Lo and behold, we are still alive. Now, is there anything else, Carbos?
I've got my eye on you. Touch any of our stuff, and you'll regret it. Unbelievable.
May I present Carbos, as he lives and breathes. Sorry about that just now. That's just how he is. In any case, if you don't need any more help, I'd suggest you move on. Follow the way east behind the dam house. It'll lead you to a village called Riverville.
Man, they also have this weird animal.
Here, take this. Truth be told, you don't look so healthy. Your eyes... well, whatever. There's something peculiar about you. I don't know how else to say it. I would examine you myself, but we don't have the right equipment with us. So if I were you, I'd ask a priest in Riverville to have a look at you. Who knows? Maybe you caught something in that temple.
Did I catch anything?
Us? Oh, nothing spectacular, I'm afraid. We gather herbs, but tomorrow we're going back north, to League. You should stop by one day if you're in the area. Someone who scours Pyrian ruins and survives could surely be useful to the apothecary and help us find some things. Yeah, why not? Show me what you've got. Maybe I have some things you can use.
Awesome. Can sell this. The scrap metal, the troll fat. Not the health potions, just well, that's about it, and let's see what he has. That's it.
Well, what can I tell you? This is the Sun Core, and, well, that's pretty much it. I think you should ask the people to an adventurer. If you ask me, what you need before you adventure anywhere is some good old-fashioned shut-eye. But yes, there are some places. The Three River Watch, for example, right there below the stone arch. It was once an old trading post, but now it's full of shady characters. Ah, and there's also a big Pyrian ruin south of it. My role designated to me by Malthus. A kind of calling, if you will.
I see.
Not exactly. Malthus designates our place in society. Generally the same one our fathers and forefathers occupied. I walk the path of the erudites, and there's also the manufacturers, the sublimes, and, of course, the pathless. Within these roles we are free to choose a profession, but certain vocations that are available to an erudite are not permitted to a manufacturer, which is one path below. However, below does not mean that it is in any way inferior. Everyone on Enderal does what they do best, and who would know better than the gods what exactly that is?
Sounds like a caste system.
In the folly of my youth, I might have thought about it, yes. But then I realized that half of what goes wrong in this world has to do with the desire to advance. I am interested in living the righteous path and to contribute to the preservation of my people. That's enough for me, and only the faithful will be granted the eternal pass upon death.
What is pathless?
Men or women who have never received the path consecration, or those who have broken their path. Brigands, glimmer dust smugglers, murderers, well, you know. And over here, there's a rumor that the Golden Queen has a weakness for men in gowns. Seriously, be careful with that kind of gossip. I know you don't mean any harm, but there are a few who might consider it heresy. Maybe, but if I look at other countries, even within the civilized world, it's hard to find a people as peaceful as ours. Don't mention it. I wish you a quick recovery and safe roads. Walk blessed. Carbos, do we need the Stilton?
I'll increase my health.
Can I clean all the tools?
Places, Finn, I'm playing. Bother me.
I guess that...
See here. Finally. With spell tomes and all my skills.
Means
Nice.
no. By the righteous path? What happened to you? You look as if you've met the Black Guardian himself. Fever? Well, there could be many causes. Wait a moment. I think I still have some grunt root. That should be enough to ease your pain, at least for now. Take a seat at the fire. The warmth might help you.
Oh, so now we're brewing potions for complete strangers.
Well, if the strangers are about to die of fever, then yes. There was that oath we swore once, remember? To help the afflicted, to...
Whatever.
Thank you. Gruntroods, Gruntroods. Ah, here we go. So, let's see. Sheer cup, some water. Ha! Done. I can't make any promises,
Shit.
but...
Finn! The still!
Explore.
They've hit me.
Do something, damn it! Do something! Oh,
Can't predict the future then.
oh, sod it!
Finn, do I really have to watch every step you take? That was a fucking close call.
Hey, I'm sorry, alright. We'll pick up a new one in Ark.
Yeah, and you're paying for it. Here I thought this bloody day couldn't get any worse.
This day isn't getting any better. Here, drink this. It'll help you. See, you already look a lot better. Still, you should let a priest take a look at that fever as soon as possible. The grunt root potion will wane in a few days. What, you mean the still? Bad quality, and too much heat, I'd wager. But, whatever will be, will be. Explosion? I'm not sure I follow.
Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Finn Dalleries. Died in 8234. Cause of death, exploding still.
Ha ha. Look, I really don't know what you're talking about. Maybe...
Wait a second. What was that? I could have sworn I saw something moving over there. Oh shit!
He's been
What
hit.
the? Carbos!
They've hit me, Finn. Those bastards. They've hit me.
Carbos, do something, damn it! Do something!
Well, crap. Am I gonna have another vision, please? Make it more interesting.
Now look at that. Our mysterious survivor has awoken.
Okay, hold on. My phone is acting up evil. So I need to get out of this.
Dispar Matumiel Delveric, Dispar for short. And you, my friend, are at my very own campsite. Before you ask, yes, the bandits killed both of the apothecary. The only reason you're still alive is that the impact of the explosion threw you right into the thicket. Most of your injuries are only superficial, but your fever, well, that's a different story.
Hello, Hades.
Quite a lot, actually. You're suffering from Arcanist's fever. Honestly, I'm surprised the old apothecarius didn't see that. Let me guess, you're suddenly capable of doing things you previously knew only from the bard songs, right? You're unusually strong, you have reflexes like a cat, and drinking potions or any kind of magically infused substance leaves a bitter afterglow in your head. Well then, congratulations. Your magical talent just blossomed. A bit late, given your age, but it happens. Put simply, the fever is a result of your body not being able to cope with it. That's not much of a problem for now, but if you don't let an Arcanist treat you sometime soon, things are going to get grim. Contain it, not cure it. From here on out, you're always going to be a little more sensitive than someone without magical gifts. But that's tolerable compared to what your magic will allow you to do. Prone to certain conditions. As I said, your fever will get worse if you drink healing potions. But you'll also be a lot more susceptible to nightmares and those kinds of things. Also, you should be very cautious of areas with magical contamination, such as Thalgard in the east. At first, diffuse headaches, general unease. Later on, your eyesight will blur, your limbs will grow weak, you'll get a maddening itch all over your body.
Radiation.
If you leave it untreated for too long, you'll either die or turn into an Orbaya. Yes, it can kill you. Everything has its price, as the wise hermit likes to say. And an Orbaya is basically a giant undead version of yourself with tumors and pus all over your body. Just never let the fever get too bad. Well, there's ambrosia, but for an uncontained fever, it'll only postpone the symptoms. Later, you can drink it whenever the fever gets worse. The stuff looks and tastes like undead sweat, and is bloody expensive, but it's the only thing that really helps. You have visions? Not that I know of. The only visions I've ever had are those that come along with a good pipe of peaceweed. You know what? As I said, someone needs to contain your fever as soon as possible. And as it happens, I know people. But in return, I want you to tell me everything. What did you do in that temple? And what's the story with those visions?
Sorry, Hades, I didn't
can't put my finger on it, but there's something strange about you, and that intrigues me. What do you say? Well then, the stage is yours. I see. My condolences for your loss. So, let me summarize. You somehow survived getting thrown into the open sea, and while you were half dead, had this dream in which you saw burnt bodies and a blinding light?
It's more like a memory. The temple I saw was the same one as...
And you also said that your magic didn't develop gradually, as it usually does, but all at once, right?
Right. After I washed up on the shore, yes, together with those visions.
Well, that's quite the story. I guess you know how absurd it sounds, but for some reason, I believe you. I've met a lot of liars in my life, and you aren't one of them.
Of course I'm not a liar.
All right,
I'm Nigel Thornberry.
it's settled then. I'll introduce you to my employer and ask him to treat you. Before we leave, however, there's something else I need to take care of, and I can use a hand. The sooner we get that done, the sooner we can make for Ark. Ark? The capital of this country? Walls high as towers of iron-hard stone rest alone in the mountains in granite enthroned. Never decaying, the ages surveying, guarded by Malthus, and blah 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 blah, and so on and so forth. You're going to see it soon. Well, aren't you curious? I work for the Holy Order. Splendid. You'll need some information before you can help me, though. I take it the fact that Vin has seen better times hasn't eluded your attention, has it? For the last 2 years, there have been wars and unrest everywhere. And even though in Enderal there is officially peace, there are peculiar things happening here, too. Normally docile animals and fakirs attacking wanderers in the open. The dead awakening in hordes. It's unsettling, to say the least.
Wait, what?
The strangest thing, however, is the Red Madness. Yeah, the rumors. I've heard them too. And I could indeed imagine that they're true, and that there's a connection, yes. As I said, maybe. If you ask me, the Lightborn were never more than imposters anyway. False gods. Well, they usually leave the thinking to their holy order. And they, of course, deny everything. But as much as I hate to say it, maybe it's better this way, at least for now. A spiritual crisis is the last thing this country needs at the moment.
And here I thought the Enderalians were the most pious people in the civilized world.
Oh, I'm hardly representative. I've seen that a long life is only one of the things powerful magic can achieve. And the false deity theory isn't that new, after all, is it? Seriously, say the Lightborn really are as mighty as the revelations say they are. Wouldn't they have the power to call down lightning on me right here and right now, to punish me for my insolence? No. The Lightborn were immortal kings, and that's all. At least, that's how I see it. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings. Splendid. You never know. But we digress. Yeah. It's some kind of mental illness that makes people lose their mind. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was a smith in Ark who butchered his entire family.
Oh,
he was
wow.
drunk, but that doesn't explain why he screamed things like "fear the light" while he was doing it. Or a young woman of noble path who set her own house on fire while her family was asleep. Now, you might say that these kinds of things happen, but by now there have been more than a dozen incidents in a very short period of time. The fact that the afflicted's eyes glow red while they go rampant has made people call the disease the Red Madness. Thing is, some weeks ago it happened again, only this time it was a magister from the Holy Order itself.
A magister?
A teacher who instructs the novices aspiring to become keepers. His name was Yarrow, a man with more than 60 winters on his back. Well, according to the sole survivor, he entered the teaching room that day as usual, but instead of giving his lecture on alchemy, he gave a strange kind of speech where he kept going on about how mankind is corrupted and that it has succumbed to the void. Then his eyes started glowing, he locked the door, and blew himself up in a magical explosion.
Jeez.
Yes, it is. I'm not one for vows and austerity, so no, I'm no keeper. My specialty is recovering lost things. Treasures, tomes, memories, and the like. And the Order hired me to do just that. They want to know how a man like Yarrow could fall victim to the Red Madness. And thus, if there's something like a pattern to this malady.
You have to do smart as what? How can I kill it? I don't know anything about this.
Doesn't matter. Yarrow grew up in a small village not far from here, and according to the Order, he visited it quite often after his partner died. What I want your help with is finding clues as to why he did what he did. What do you think? Great! First of all, I want you to travel to Riverville and talk to an old man named Alfred, a childhood friend of Yarrow's. Ask him what he makes of the incident, and whether he has any explanation for it. Secondly, a farm boy told me that he saw Yarrow throw something into the sea during his last visit there. The winds have been blowing inland the last couple of days, so go search the shoreline and see if it washed up. I myself will take a look at the house Yarrow grew up in. And here. This is a map of the region. Yarrow's house is at the blue dot. So, unless there's anything else, I'd say let's step to it. Just meet me at the farm when you're done.
Awesome. I will rest until there's some light out. Crown with the Butcher. First write these words, though I'm aware of the truth. What else should a man be called whose trail were marked by dozens of corpses? Corpses that are not meet with a battle or an accident. No corpse my own doing. Men, women, and eldest children, priests, merchants, travelers, and whores. My murders seem to follow as an inscrutable pattern whose arbitrariness will put an icy veil everyone's heart. Of course, this will not be what heralds will proclaim. For them and the Holy Order I will be known as the monstrosity, pathless demon who has been led astray by his own mundane crimes. They will call me an evil man, a beast with a heart that's black as midnight. Because these are the colors in which the world prefers to think, black and white. No one will ask about how and why. Even the pages will be hard to acquire, for the Holy Order will be surely do everything in power to prohibit their printing. Which is why I shall congratulate you, cover you maybe, for holding them in your hands. With this assembly of word pages you shall be given insight into my very own thoughts. Do not understand them as justification for my deeds, because this is not what they are. I assume full responsibility for what I have done, and I have no desire for absolution. Not from Malthus, whose supposed divinity is something that nowadays merely smile upon, nor from the people's just or some other strange, greater power whose nature we have not yet learned and comprehended. This book is no more than a testimony of the strange and incurable happenings yonder, which have made me into what I am. Chapter 1. Follow the Fire. It was a dull, cold, wet morning that would change my life forever. Yes, somehow it almost seems like the day Mother Nature, as a response to the festivities of the preceding night, had decided to recover herself from a dreamy, nondescript day. The reason for the aforementioned festivities have been called Star Summer Night. Okay, let's see if anyone's in the chat. Checking the chat. Okay, I'll take this book, I'll read it later.
Never walked back on the road from the edge.
Oh, so there's one chapter, okay. I'll read it then. The festivities had decided to recover herself in a dreaming hours. The reason for the aforementioned festivities had been Star Summer Night, which every year marks the beginning of a new spring, in which night sky is illuminated by dozens of wild and tame starfires. While the common people, however, use the occasion to indulge in them, their mundane cravings were by drinking with smoky tanners, dashing around the first dome of spade, or having cultivated conversations with a masked howl. For us, cleric means nothing but a night filled with processions, sermons, and prayer. After briefly attending the joyous speech of the mayor and giving my priestly blessings to commence the festivities, I sat retreated into the temple and prayed until both my knees and tongue were sore, just like the holy orders oblige every priest to do. It was of no significance whether the cleric was high priest or, as was the case with me, merely a simple insignificant father in an even simpler, more insignificant village. Mine was called Folkville, and was situated on a constantly windy, sparsely vegetated cliff on the valley west of Enderal. It owned the name to, who would have guessed, the pale thin wafts of mist which every morning descended on the village was countenanced like a mourning veil over the face of old widow. Still I remember this last gaze yonder, just threw upon the poor houses at the bottom of the hill, and the village was enthroned upon. After the dissonant orchestration of lute music, animated laughter, and popping of corks, an almost eerie silence had laid itself upon the village. Only here and there a lonesome figure could be seen and heard moving through the cool mist, and even the bakery's chimney remained still. I feebly smiled into the face of the village I had grown up in. My father, who actually wasn't my father, claimed to have found me wrapped in linen and lying in a basket near Wayshire on the Miss Road, had been abandoned and later became the man who later became my father. Took me to the village full of devotion and grateful for the divine gift. However, because of his untimely death, only 10 years later, I never got rid of the feeling that his compassionate act was due to the fact that he found me right underneath the statue of Malthus, and not because his wish for a child. Gilman the Tanner, as the villagers called him, was a delicate man with pockmarked skin and narrow nose. His own opinion, the whole world conspired against him, which was the sole reason for his misery. We never talked much, but when we did, our conversations followed a general pattern, in which his solemn voice he would call me to his fireplace room, where he sat rigidly most of the time, along with 2 empty tankards of beer. Then he would gesture to me to sit down and announce that had to get something off his chest. The fact that his only foundling son was to listen was further proof of how badly life had treated him. It would start right when I sat down. Tialmar the hunter had sold him rancid oils, an evil cutthroat my father called him. After all, that was the nature of the Aeterna, be said, and in Enderal this fact was not as well known as in Nerem. Or Matressa Zulia, who had served him bitter wine. A mean crone she was, he said. Oh yes, but thanks to the Malthus he had perceived her plan and cut her down to size. And then, of course, Rashik the Smith's twin boys. Rascals they were, both of them. No respect they had for the path-abiding, hard-working people like him. But no manners were to be expected from Coleman and his breed. What did they know about decency, he said excitingly. These folks do nothing but shag until the bed breaks down. It did not matter to him that Rashik was Kiran, the 3rd generation living in Enderal, and that he preferred a long-term union with his mate over the promiscuous family clans of his homeland. These conversations, his persistently sour breath, the smell of raw hides, leather, and animal fats in the workshop made up a great deal of my childhood. Of friends I had only a few to none, mostly due to the fact that my father made me work hard in the tannery as soon as I reached the age of 5. If Mater Pelea, I'm sure of this now, bad not by incident, notice my quick wit, would still be there today working between animal parts, stretched hides, and slippery grease. Maybe the strange experience on that misty morning would have never happened, yet she noticed, and that is how it came to be, that on the day of my path consecration, the aged priest proclaimed my holy path, in so many words, I, Jao, Tanner's son, was predestined to dedicate my life entirely to Malphas. Malphas's glory as a priest. Of course, back then I did not fully comprehend what that meant, but the other children's awestruck reactions made me realize that it was a good thing. Thus I left the bleak tannery and only entered the old house on the edge of the village to sleep there. For my foster father, the child abduction was only more of an act of treason. Looking back, I think that the amiable mother was the only real caregiver in my life. She taught me to read and write, and she taught me the essential herbal lore. With empathy and strictness, she taught me what I needed to know to become part of the Enderalian clergy. 10 winters later, I received priesthood and began to serve in a small temple. That is what an obedient priest had to do. Held services, I prayed, I maintained the temple, and I heard the villagers' confessions. Mata Delea left the village on her 16th name day. 60th. I was gonna say 16th. 60th name day. Moved to a retirement quarter in the Sun Temple in the capital, which I only knew from the tales. A year later, my father passed away, an event that, to my surprise, affected me deeply. From then on, everything became lethargic routine until that very day. The man I was then was a happy man. I'm not able to tell. When I try to recall the first 28 years of my life, my memories seem like fading words or parchment. My reason tells me that I was blessed in a way. The life of a priest was pleasant and constant, without highs and lows. Had enough to eat, I had a home, and enough pennies to afford the services of a wandering whore from time to time. I know that according to the holy verses, I would enter the eternal paths. At the end of my days, my path trodden, my task fulfilled, but things turned out differently. Ooh, things are getting spicy. Basically. Now I have to monitor the time. It was the first time I encountered the fire. This is a small insignificant. I had taken off my robes and wearily laid down under the sheet of sheeps, while I noticed a strange and dull feeling in my stomach. Today I know that this unremarkable moment was the first time I encountered the fire. The small insignificance, only weak glow, but it was there. Knowing that I would wake up as a different man. However, this grey morning I was too tired to pay attention to it. Exhausted, I wrapped my sheet around myself and was fast asleep. A moment later, I awoke in a dream. Found myself on an idyllic forest glade surrounded by green oak trees, whose leaves moved gently in the wind. The ceiling stood horizon like the molten blaze and shone a red light over the scenery. I savored the spicy fresh air, which tasted of wet moss, morning dew, and old secrets. Mysterious, wild and clear, like life itself. In contrast to what we all know of the mighty journeys that we call dreams, I was fully aware of the unreality of the scenery, so I accepted it as if it was as natural as time passing. I was stark naked, as on the day of my birth, but I was not ashamed. On the contrary, I felt strong, clear, and free. When I took my eyes away from the sky and looked in the front of me, I saw her. She stood in an old ruin that was overgrown with ivy, whose collapsed walls and arcs told of ancient times. She wore a grey flowing robe that only allowed a glimpse of her femininity beneath her hood hung deeply over her face. Oh, it's the veiled lady, so only the tender and delicate parts of her cheeks and chin were visible. A sight that could have stemmed from the imagination of a Uranian painter. Her dense, midnight black hair was tied into shake-like braids and fell down her shoulders. Various things were interwoven in her hair, old faded coins that must be minted by lost civilizations, small, finely polished bones from animals unknown to us. These strange ribbons wore in colorful threads, creating an outflow pattern. But it was none of this that had hypnotized me and drew towards the veiled figure in the ruin. It was her smile. With every step I took towards her, I felt deeper in its charm. It was not a lovely smile, as some might assume. It was a mixture of melancholy, rage, hope, love, a symphony of contradicting feelings, which I thought to be irreconcilable. The smile that was able to speak to both great wisdom and orders that would mean death of thousands. A smile born from truth, recognizing otherworldly existences. Cold sweat ran from my pores. I felt how apprehensiveness mixed with the peaceful bliss of the moment just before. Came to a halt a few steps before her, staring at her magical smile like a starving man at a feast. For a moment I believed to recognize a glance of mirth in her features, yet faded away as fast as it had appeared. Then she spoke. "You are dying, Jael." Her voice was rough and tender at the same time. She spoke without mockery, pity, or cruelty. "Why?" I heard myself respond mechanically. "I am in the best health." My answer was as pathetic as clumsy it must appear to the reader of these yellowed pages, but I spoke to them faster than I was able to think, without control. The woman nodded softly. She had expected this very response. "You affirm that you are of good health," she paraphrased my words with a peculiar intonation, "but you fail to perceive the fabric of this world. In its intricacies." Slowly and regretfully she shook her head like a magistra in a monastery school who got a foolish answer from a novice to a very simple question. Then she took her hands out of the robe sleeves and beckoned me to follow her. Even her walk had something of an hour walk to it. Her body did not move with her steps, but seemed to float instead. Silent and obedient, I followed her through the old ruin. Today, after I had gone through the vision in my thoughts many thousands of times, I know that it was an old trading post. The walls and the rusty gate left no doubt about it. But in the vision I did not care about such banalities. To follow the figure in front of me was my sole purpose. She stopped in front of an old, overgrown tower, presumably the heart of the ruin, and opened the cast-iron door, which swung outside an eerie sound. "My go, Giles," she said, "go and perceive the truth." I wonder what the truth is. It's probably smashing. Anyway. These were the last words I heard until the horrid discovery inside the ruin. When I was about to reply, she was gone. For the first time, a feeling of uncertainty mingled with the confidence that I had had in the beginning of the vision. Ooh. One second. Oh my gosh, my old college is having renovations and it just brings bad memories. Anyway, for the first time, I shall continue. For the first time, a feeling of uncertainty mingled with the confidence that I had at the beginning of the vision. I was still aware of the fact that my physical body was lying on the bed in a modest chamber in another world. I also knew that I could decide to wake up from the wonderful and terrible vision. Yet I did not. Why? I'm unable to say. Was it out of curiosity? Was it the sense of fate that cowered through like a thin transcendent sleeve? I don't know. I entered. The floor felt cold under my naked feet, and the dusty air that was only lit by a pale red sunbeam made me cough as it filled my lungs. The inside was almost empty, except for spider webs, weathered furniture, and broken stones that had fallen from the crumbling walls. In the center there was a wooden construction, an extraordinarily washed upright box. Hesitantly I walked closer. A word came to my head, but it faded from my mind as fast as it had appeared. Because how the fire of the setting sound extinguished, it was replaced by a dull blue. Gentle hazy fog began to cover the scenery and everything that had been peaceful and blessed before I entered the ruin was replaced by a sense of trepidation, creeping, cold, wasting. My hand moved along the surface of the strange box, which was slightly taller than me. The wood was decayed and gray, and an odd smell came from it. It was sweet and tempting, but at the same time repellent. Leave flashed through my head. Leave before you inflame it. I was unable to determine if it was I who thought this thought, but of course I did not leave. Slowly my hand moved towards a gap in the side of the box that allowed me to open its lid. The hinge turned with a reluctant moaning sound, ruined the word that had slipped my mind. This time it did not vanish, it persevered. And its dreadfulness, the wooden construction in the center of this abandoned ruin was no box, it was a coffin. Even today I can hardly find the light words for the terror that stared at me from the decomposing interior of the coffin. Without any doubt, the creature in front of my very eyes was myself. There it was, the brown hair thinning even at the age of 28. There it was, the well-trimmed, dense beard that grew down to my chest. The beard that I grew to hide my remarkable longish face. There it was, the crooked nose, giving my face a Warsaw-like appearance. So basically he was another Thornberry, making me avoid my own reflection in the mirror. But the body in the coffin was dead, clenched like the moment of dying, penned in like a cattle. His head was pressed down to his shoulder by small dimensions of the coffin. His natural posture was a silent accusation. His body was pinched, his arms pressed to himself in a twisted manner. Much more gruesome thought was the face. The skin was pale and had greenish-gray color like decayed tombstones. There were many deep fissures that were not bleeding, but offered a view of bare flesh and white bones. The beard was curly and wild, and maggots moved around in the tangled mesh. Oozing, festering, dowly liquid was dripping down on the stone floor. The man's cheeks were hollow, and his lacerated lips were opened in a twisted way that gave him the impression of a tormented smile. His teeth were rotten and his tongue gray, but more of this was the reason for the blood-curdling, panic-fueled cry that escaped my throat. It were the eyes. Rather, it was the place where the eyes should be on a healthy living person. But there were no eyes, weak and pale like shrouds. The lids, devoid of any sense, hung over the gaping black sockets. Contradicting any logic, they seemed to stare at me, whispering, rotting, and dead. The same festering liquid in the man's beard trickled down the brows and disappeared in the empty eye sockets. No, no. Words cannot describe the terror filled me when I looked at that deformed creature. In panic, I hit the withered copy of myself, but only loosened the body so it fell right towards me. Sad gide. Ne çocuğu? Ondan sonra gide. Felt how the repellent festering corpse water from her beard touched my lips. A handful of maggots landed on my shoulder. For a short moment I was petrified. Held myself in my arms like a twin, his own deceased brother. But this was no twin. When maggots tried to move up my neck, I pushed the corpse away with a shrill cry. Right out of the maggots had fled the ruin. Meanwhile, night had fallen. Full stood cold, white and unmoving in the sky. The veil of mist which had formed inside would fade as soon as I came outside and let myself drop to the ground, crying and breathing heavily. I am dead, flashed through my mind. You're gonna get dead? I uttered a panicky scream. Pitiful effort to banish the madness from my mind. Terror remained. It was omnipotent, and I felt bitter tears making my what by the righteous path does this mean? What kind of nightmare am I trapped in? Some might ask why I did not end my day with the well-known physical stimulus by pinning myself. Even so, because I was fully aware of what was happening. The answer is I was unable to do it, and I knew it. What went through was not one of the usual nightly phantasms that occasionally haunt the quiet hours. Something that I later began to understand, at least a little. I wanted to show me something, and I was unable to escape the truth, as little as a man can escape the sands of time. As I turned my gaze from the floor and stared to crouch towards the stone ark and the forest sweeping helplessly, I saw her again, the veiled woman. She stood above me and stared down at me almost with sympathy. At least I assumed so, because despite the angle of my view, I was unable to recognize anything but above her cheeks, but the unnatural shadow of her hood. What are you? I brought you forth in a weak voice. What, by the Black Guardian's name, are you? A demon, an angel of death? It sounded pathetic, like a lament of a desperate child. You ask me what I am, she answered again, echoing my before, and you assume a black angel of your god come upon you to punish you, but a touch of maternal tenderness accompanied her rough voice. You ask your own question, Joe. For who I am is none of importance. I stared at her in confusion, unable to react to her. I remained on the ground for a while, motionless, breathing frantically and panically, looking at the veiled woman. After I felt like an eternity, I asked the question that needed to be asked. And what is the right question? Briefly, I saw what seemed to be a sad smile caress her red lips. You inquire from me what only you can answer, she said, began to move and towards the stone ark. And I wish to give you some advice. She halted, looking like an unreal shape in the silver of the moonlight. An advice on how you can avoid the death of your soul. There was a moment of your silence. End your false life and follow the fire. Then the vision broke apart. Okay.
Aged man's abode. Oh, blazes. Sorry. I know. I can't sing. Huh? Huh. Well observed. Yes, I am indeed sublime by my path, but please, just ignore that, will you? I'm not a big fan of titles. Most of the time, they're just a means for boring people to feel superior towards others. Treasure hunter. That has a nice ring to it. But, let's just say I help people to fulfill certain materialistic desires of theirs, just like the holy warden who brings back the lost shoe to the maiden. Only the maiden pays me to do it. And I have a more flexible conscience, so to speak. Maybe. Maybe not. But let's save the socializing for later, okay? Usually I am always in for a good talk, but for now let's focus on the mission.
Sure. I guess I don't have to deal with... Anyway, let's go on our path. Kinda sucks you cannot level up your skills. You can level them up in Skyrim, but okay. What's this place? Wait, there's no fast travel either? Oh my gosh, this place is... It's enormous though. Wait, is this place also available? Jeez. Okay, to make sure I'm going the right way, I'm going to the market here. That's... Once I reach that place, I'm going to mistake. I like how it's slowly. Anyway, Nigel Thornberry is gonna do what he does best. I'll jump in. Oh crap. Thank you for your contributions. Oh, these are my friends. How can they get to put the potions? Are you kidding me? Put the potions there. They're a freaking apothecary. Where's the other guy? Huh. Well, let's continue our path through this German nightmare. I know, German and Polish fantasy settings are really interesting. Empty. No, I'm not gonna go towards the freaking ruins. Well, I'm better. Okay, this is where jail station. Just spot, I mean. Ah, God, I've been reading so much of this. I don't like wolves. Otherwise, though, this is a really only what have any other things that you want. this crab is friendly. Yes, they are. Imagine. That's not a good sign. Whenever you see that, that's usually not a good sign. Hold on. That's actually a really horrible sign. Mental and one-handed archery, come on. Really? I can't make my... Is it a farm there? Please be a farm. Please be a farm. This is a farm. Man, I can't believe I survived. I'm gonna face all of that. Wild mage. What the heck is a wild mage?
Finally, some fun.
Ah, okay. We want to have some smashing time. We'll have some smashing time. Man. So, we actually found another butcher's tomb. Okay. Well guys, this is fun. This is actually pretty fun. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Man, this is a pretty awesome discovery. Thank you all so much. Wonder what, but before I finish. Is there a Stephen one? Nope. Yes, we should be. Nice. Yes, we're barbarian because we like smashing. Found so many things. Like this is like the jackpot. Okay. Yeah, I'll quick save it.